All right. All right. I feel like, I'm going in and out of days where I think my hair looks good. I'll catch myself from an angle and I'll think that's not too bad. I'm supposed to do an intro, right? Day 79, I think. Today's going to be another sort of closer to a vlog like one. Um, because look at those eyes, huh? Because I ended up having to do some things I didn't expect to have to do, and then I had to spray this like bug killer in my bedroom, right? And I had to clean out my entire bedroom, and I had to throw a bunch of shit out. And the spray I had to use gave me like a 4 hour migraine. I used to get migraines all the time. When I was really overweight as a kid, I would have headaches like all day long every day. I thought it was like normal. I'm gonna assume what gave me headaches was soda. When I was a kid, I drank a ton of soda. I was like a soda fiend. Obviously, I was well in the high 280s, 290s, 300 pounds. So to maintain that weight, you have to really be like chomping down calories. And what's an easy way to get a shit ton of calories? Drink 2 liters of Coke every day, right? And you know what? All right, we got some topics to talk about. All right, so one, giving yourself a headache with bug spray. Don't do it. I don't recommend it. My cat is like rebelling against me because I had to kick him out of the room, and now he's like furious and he's like sleeping on the couch. He's bitterly sleeping on the couch. Um, I It's a day off. Tomorrow's a day off. I feel very good. Like I feel great about things are going as smoothly as I wanted them to be, and I had a decent amount of time today to plan some things for the week and I feel pretty bad about these videos. Like when I think about YouTube now, I feel kind of like, fuck, did I fuck up? Did I like fuck up an opportunity to like get like a decent amount of viewers, or like should I be more focused on it, or like is this an actual a thing that I should try to make a career like over time? Like I asked myself those questions today, and I usually don't ask myself shit like that. I try not to contemplate too many things like that I don't have direct control over. I've always perceived internet in general as a sort of lottery, but the more time I spend on YouTube, the more I do perceive the platform as something that can be won with a modicum of skill. Obviously, there will always be a lottery like nature to the game, but I do think YouTube may be the only skill based platform. Am beginning to think that. The question I just have to ask myself then is like, well, what would my wife's chair, by the way, this is my wife's chair. It has child locks on the wheels that re-engage themselves over and over and over again. So I'm probably gonna break this chair too, but I do think this is like a skill-based platform. I really do. I've become convinced of that. Not because of anything that's happened to me on the platform, um, but it's something I've been thinking of, and I try not to think about stuff like that. I don't want to contemplate the results of anything. It's a great way for me to become focused on something I can't change or hyper obsessed. I have, probably a form of I stray from any psychological definitions. I have no interest in going to any sort of doctor for anything that like happens in my mind. I prefer to just tough it out, even if it like ruins my life. I recognize what I'm saying is insane. So if you're watching this and you're like, you should really, I like don't believe in therapy. There are a lot of I'm weird. Just in case you were wondering, I'm like a very strange guy. I have a lot of very like you spend enough time alone in a room reading books and writing and then deleting the things you write and reading more, and you travel the world and you get into a lot of weird bad things, and you ruin years of your life at a time. You come out the other end of that kind of lifestyle with a very weird series of beliefs, okay, and a very distinctive, resolute philosophies. Even though I still change it. It's not like I've decided what's right and wrong yet, but I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. It's the bug spray is giving me the bug spray is making it so I can't make a coherent thought. What I'm trying to say is I'm very I probably have a kind of ADD. I become very focused, and I can only focus on what to put in perspective. I can write or read or edit or focus on a task for effectively an infinite amount of time. I can focus to an extent that I don't hear things. I won't eat. I won't go to the bathroom. I can focus like that. But um, outside of that, if disparate things, I struggle to. The downside of that rather is that I get tunnel vision on things I don't need to have tunnel vision on. So if a task involves doing X, Y, and Z, and those things are spread out, and I'm focused on the goal and not those things, I will mess everything up. I Because of this sort of focus pattern I have, I'm very bad at learning new things. Um, I'm very bad at doing most jobs, most things I'm bad at in the beginning because I get hyper focused on not messing up. I can become focused on something intangible, right? If I'm hyper focused on the idea of making a mistake, I will lose sight of the things around me. And I mean literally physically, I will move something like this and the memory of it will be gone from my head. And that happens to everyone, but I experience it to an extremely high degree. And it's something you just learn about yourself over time. But it's also a bit of a superpower, my ability to hyper focus on things, right? I can attach myself to a task for an extremely long period of time. Why was I bringing that up? I don't know. YouTube. I try not to think about the result of anything, but the process. And I've yet to develop any form of process for YouTube, even though we're 80 videos in. But I have many ideas. It's just that I haven't had the time to orchestrate those ideas. But I am there. This is like, I'm beginning to. If you watch my last 10 days of videos, you'll see that I'm clearly like, I don't have time, and I barely have the room to breathe. Right now I have time. So I've been able to kind of take a deep breath, not too deep of a breath because there's fucking pesticides in my house and it'll kill me. But I've been able to take a deep breath and look around. So I feel pretty good. I do feel worried, like, maybe I fucked the channel up, or like maybe like even if I start making very good videos or videos with significantly more effort, maybe YouTube won't like push them out. But I don't really care in the traditional sense of like it wouldn't affect whether or not I do the thing. That's not like really why I'm doing this. If I was like doing this for like results of that nature, I think I wouldn't do it, or I would do it a different way, right? I'm clearly not doing anything in line with what you're supposed to do. But all of that shit, I honestly don't. It's hard for me to even talk about because it just bores the shit out of me. What else was I gonna say? Headaches when I was a kid. Yeah, when I was a kid, I drank like 4 liters of Coke every day, and I would like panic if I didn't have soda. That's actually how I first lost weight. So the way I first lost weight was obviously very rudimentary and very simple. Especially it was a time period where you were not inundated with nutritional information. You couldn't Google and YouTube everything. There were very few places you could actually look, or at the very least, there were very few places I knew to look as a 20-year-old. I just stopped drinking soda, stopped eating fast food. Just both of those things, cold turkey. I drank soda every day, I ate fast food every day. And I just stopped doing those two things. I just went, I can't tell you exactly what pushed me over the edge. I don't quite believe in epiphanies. Generally in life, you'll have many epiphanies and they all culminate, and then you recognize the after effects of those epiphanies months down the line. Things don't usually happen like a bolt of lightning. And if they do happen to me, I forget them. Another downside of my very focused or obsessive nature is I can be incredibly forgetful of things if I don't actively want to remember them, or like choose to remember them. I can forget. There have been moments in my life I remember. I've experienced such a vast array of things, many of them, more wonderful than I deserve, and I know I've kind of forgotten them. I know I've forgotten things I really wish I haven't forgotten, you know? Um, yeah. Yeah, like I remember like tracing a name with my finger at like the bottom of this like shrine, this like ancient shrine in the middle of nowhere in Japan, and like feeling someone had dug their signature into the shrine, 600 years ago, and feeling it with my thumb. Things like that I'll remember. But I know that just as many of those memories I have just as many I've forgotten and told myself I wouldn't forget. But I can be very forgetful, is I guess what I'm saying. I think that's what I'm saying. But when I was a kid, I just ate fast food and drank soda, and I just stopped those two things, and I lost a ton of weight right away. I just started dropping weight. You don't lose all the weight that way, unfortunately. You'll lose like 15, 20 pounds maybe right away.
But obviously that type of thing is going to take so much time. Um, Back to 1600 calories. Day 2, I guess, I've eaten like a very specific 1600. The previous weeks I've had let's say 1600 every other day or day or two. The only difference in my diet in the last 2 weeks has been that I don't force myself to find 1600 calories if I'm too busy to meal prep or plan or whatever. I eat whatever I can when I can. It's that level of busyness, or at least that level of unpreparedness for my own busyness. It's my fault at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, today's gonna be a quick one. I checked out with that headache, which was probably largely like psychosomatic, right? Someone asked if when I look away, I'm reading something. No, I look. It's not natural for me to look at a camera. I look around. I don't write anything down. I don't ever do that. You'll know if I write something down. You'll know because it will sound like. So when I write, it doesn't sound like me. You could make a philosophical argument that when I write, it's more me, right? Because it is me as I want to be presented. And you could argue whether or not that version of myself or of yourself is the truer form of you. I feel I am more myself when I read my writing, but I am also more severe when I write. It's one of the biggest flaws in my writing, and it's the one thing I am working the hardest to do is my humor doesn't come out in my writing very well. Which sucks because I would describe it, most people would describe that as like one of my primary characteristics as being funny in an environment or humorous. But it doesn't come out very well in my writing because I'm also like a dramatic, I'm a severe and serious person. And that comes out in the writing more, unfortunately. Um, Flaws you learn of your own art over time, what's missing, what should be there, and what that lack tells. That's a major flaw. My writing should have a layer of humor at all times because first of all, life when it's most serious is quite funny. You'll probably have this knowledge on your own, but if you've ever seen like a masterpiece of a movie, let's pick like a really dramatic movie, Schindler's List. Schindler's List has like, I don't know, a dozen genuinely funny moments. It's fucking Schindler's List. But real life depicted at its like purest is funny. It is funny. That's why humor is probably the most it's a distinctly natural characteristic. It's why like if a monster laughs, it's very unsettling. Laughter is like a very there's something very deeply real about laughter. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore. Dude, I inhaled like an aerosol can full of bug repellent. So it's like, it's a miracle I'm able to form a single sentence. Anytime there's rules of any kind on any packaging, medicine, food, bug repellent, I ignore them. What do you think about that? No, I read it. I read it because I was afraid for my cat. I didn't want to. I read it and made sure I didn't do anything that could upset my animal. Um, where am I going to go from here? How long has it been? Look, here's the deal. It's another silly, cute little Bren moment where I sit here and I talk and I ramble and I don't have a real, imagine making this type of video. If you're still watching, right? Imagine you make this video and you go, okay, what's the title and description? Like, fat man with brain aneurysm talks nonsense. Like that's, I guess, the description. That's what I would describe. I am going to end it here. I slept a lot, which I normally don't do. I cleaned the shit out of my room, which I had to do. I inhaled a bunch of bug repellent, and now it's 10 p.m. And as someone who's been getting like finished with their day at around 5 a.m., for me it's like the middle of the day, and that kind of fucks with my head too. I'm like all over the place with that. But anyway, tomorrow's a lift day, and yeah, I have some fun things I think coming up, and God willing, I'm gonna work out how to do this in a way that I can at least feel the thing. You know what it is with these videos now is like I'm at a point now where I don't want to do anything if I can't do it well. And I don't want to stop doing these videos, but I don't have the time to do them well. Or at least that's what I'm telling myself. So if I don't want to stop the videos and I don't want to do anything if I don't do it well, then I better learn how to make these videos well or better in reference to my own expectations. Um, so yeah, I'm working through a lot. There's a reason people don't make videos every day, you know. And I understand people, there are a lot of people that make daily videos, and I'm sure they're very focused. They're very, today I ate my chicken, I did my walk. I don't give a fuck about any of that. So, I shot myself in the foot. I don't know why. I aimed my handgun at my dick. Boo! I shot myself by choosing this subject, but I wanted to lose 80 pounds on camera. It made me less shy. The idea of like expressing my flaw, it made me less insecure. So I have to accept that I don't like this. I don't like this subject matter bores the shit out of me. But I do understand it's a valuable subject and there are nuggets of wisdom that can be delivered. And if I focus more on the losing weight part, at least 90% of the time or 80% of the time, I know the videos could have their own inherent value by watching me lose weight. That encourages me to make the videos. Saying the same shit I was saying, 2 months ago. So I apologize for that. I'm a fucking broken record. But thoughts for the night. I have to go now. I have to write. I didn't write because my head was hurting, and now I'm going to do that. I'm going to write. I'm sure I'm going to type about 3,000 words, and then I'm going to drag the mouse to highlight everything and hit backspace, which is how I often do things. I do edit things, and I do finish things, obviously, but I also delete quite a bit. Writing is very hard, and most writing is very bad, and words are cheap, and writing is cheap. Writers are very angry, self-hating people. They don't like other writers, or at least I don't like other writers. Anyone writing with like a grin is a smile is awful. Writing is terrible. Everything is terrible now. Everything I see, I watch a movie, they go, "This is a good one." I watch it, it's garbage. It's just absolute garbage. But you don't want me to go down that lane. I don't want to talk about that right now because I'll start screaming and saying big words, big bad words that get everybody real upset. I am a good, healthy individual. What does that mean? And I hope you have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow for the lift. For those of you watching these like vlogs, for the like 60 people or whatever that are watching these now that I've gone downhill and it's just me talking while I get my shit together, I appreciate it. Like and comment. Every comment I get is genuinely my favorite part to any of this is a comment, because a like doesn't mean shit to me, and neither does a view, right? But a comment, it's like a words from a living creature. Granted, 90% of comments are like about the one thing I say that's related to fitness, and I go, well, that makes sense. That's what the audience wants, right? But you're also allowed to talk. You're allowed to go, hey, buddy, maybe stop inhaling bug spray. You can talk about anything in the comments. Tell me your address. I don't know what I'm saying. I got to turn this off. Everything I said today during this video is a joke, and I'm sorry.